This is Top 30. Vice President Mike Pence left an NFL game after some of the players knelt during the National Anthem. He said he did not want to dignify the protest, but critics are calling it a public relations stunt. Pence was at the Indianapolis Colts game on Sunday when several San Francisco 49ers took a knee during the National Anthem. The Vice President tweeted, "I left today's Colts game because the President and I will not dignify an event that disrespects our soldiers, our flag, or our national anthem." Soon after, President Trump tweeted, "I asked Vice President Pence to leave if any players kneeled, disrespected our country." But critics point out that the 49ers have knelt every week and have been vocal saying they're protesting police brutality and racial inequality, not the military or the flag. One 49er who knelt said the VP is confusing the message and called this a PR stunt. Brian Schatz, a Democratic senator from Hawaii, tweeted, "Wait, this was orchestrated to make a point? That's not an inexpensive thing to do." CNN estimates the air cost of the trip to taxpayers was $242,500, which does not include Secret Service or ground support. Both Trump and Pence say this trip was planned weeks ago. Pence tweeted a photo from the game that was actually 3 years old.
These are your quick hits. Hollywood movie mogul Harvey Weinstein was fired on Sunday amid a lengthy list of sexual harassment allegations, including claims from actress Ashley Judd. Accused of harassing women for decades, the board of the Weinstein Company voted to terminate the co-founder effective immediately. McDonald's fans are furious after the fast food chain brought back Szechuan sauce but didn't anticipate the demand. Szechuan sauce! Szechuan sauce! Select stores across the country gave out the sauce on Saturday, but most stores only had 20 to 40 packets on hand. Police were even called to several locations. And the discount shoe store DSW has announced they want to experiment with shoe rental services. DSW is considering the service in an effort to get more people into some of their 511 stores across the country.
Turbulence on airplanes is set to increase dramatically in the next few decades thanks to climate change. Rough flights could nearly triple by 2050 to 2080, this according to a new study conducted at the University of Reading in England. Researchers ran computer simulations that projected what the planet's atmosphere will look like in the future, and they found temperature increases would lead to rougher and more frequent air pockets at higher altitudes. The study focused on clear air turbulence. That is especially dangerous because it's invisible and cannot be detected by radar. It's also responsible for hundreds of injuries and costs US airlines up to $200 million every year. They expect it to increase by 181% over the North Atlantic, 161% over Europe, and 113% over North America. In other words, some of the world's busiest routes. Flyers can expect to spend more time in their seats as the seatbelt sign will have to be on for 2 to 3 times as long. In other words, you'll ignore the seatbelt sign for 2 to 3 times as long.
Dove has been apologizing all weekend after they released a new ad that shows a black woman with a bottle of Dove body wash who pulls off her shirt and skin to reveal a white redheaded woman. The ad, which consumers are calling racist, was pulled by Dove, and an apology was issued via Twitter, saying an image we recently posted on Facebook missed the mark in representing women of color thoughtfully. We deeply regret the offense it caused. The 62-year-old soap brand has been known for their inclusive ad campaigns that support real women with real bodies. However, the ad has ignited fury among users, and the hashtag #BoycottDove began trending on social media. Dove told Reuters the short video was intended to convey that Dove body wash is for every woman and to be a celebration of diversity, but we got it wrong. Kind of makes you think, who in what office at any point in time thought it was a good idea to give this the green light?
The Trump administration has released a list of principles it says must be met before it will make a deal to protect young undocumented immigrants. Those requirements include the funding and construction of a border wall with Mexico. It has been promised by President Trump since the earliest days of his campaign. Last month, the president announced that he would end the DACA program that shielded young, undocumented immigrants from being deported. He said Congress had 6 months to write new immigration laws. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer then met with President Trump. The major win for Democrats in that conversation was Trump agreeing that DACA legislation would not include funding for the border wall. The two Democratic leaders are now criticizing the president. In a joint statement, Pelosi and Schumer said, if the president was serious about protecting the Dreamers, his staff has not made a good faith effort to do so. In his letter to Congress, Trump said that without these reforms, illegal immigration and chain migration will continue without end. The work permits for about 700,000 Dreamers will begin to expire in March if a deal is not reached, something that looks increasingly likely. Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Pedalides. Nicole, I'm hearing news about Tesla.
That's right, Richard. Elon Musk delays the unveiling of its semi-truck again as it starts to divert more of its resources to the Model 3 sedan. The $35,000 sedan is a high priority for Tesla as it could propel the electric vehicle company into the mainstream market. And Apple is heading to college, the tech giant teaming up with Ohio State University for free iPad Pros to its incoming freshmen. Apple is also creating an iOS design lab at Ohio State to help students learn important coding skills and mobile app development. And are you sick of waiting in lines? Well, Walmart can fix that and says that customers can now return products in under a minute. That's right. Walmart will launch Mobile Express returns in November for its Walmart.com purchases and will seek to slash return times down to 30 seconds from the current 5 minutes. Richard?
Excellent, Nicole. Tell me, how will this impact Amazon?
Well, Richard, Amazon is going to have to step up its game. Walmart promising these swifter returns. The tech giant has been trying to boost its brick-and-mortar presence. Amazon did start processing returns at Whole Foods stores. Don't forget they acquired the grocery chain back in August. So we'll see. It's game on, and especially for the holidays.
Nicole Pedalides, thank you.
A bride and groom finally tied the knot after a terrible accident sent their life into a tailspin. The devastating accident happened last December when Brett Greenhill and Meg Alexander were enjoying a joint bachelor and bachelorette weekend in Naples, Florida. They were having fun at the beach when Brett decided to dive into the ocean and he hit his head on a shallow sandbar. It left him paralyzed from the neck down. But there's some good news. Brett has made huge strides in his recovery and regained some movement in his wrists and arms. In September, the lovebirds finally got married in Atlanta, Georgia. Meg told People magazine, they say for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, and I guess we got that part out of the way early. 2 lessons here. One decision can change your life, and love really can conquer all. A video has gone viral of a guy cutting open a rubber ducky revealing mold, and it'll make any parent cringe. YouTuber Viva Fry found mold when cutting into his own child's toy and advised parents to do the same. But sadly, this has happened before. Earlier this year, reports of mold in the pretty famous Sophie the Giraffe teething toys swept social media. As people like Dana Chianese told Good Housekeeping, she found mold inside her infant's chew toy after noticing a musty smell. Or when Fox 8 Cleveland reported on Montreal father Simon O'Canada's shocking discovery of mold inside of a Tommy Tippy sippy cup. A Tommy Tippy representative told Cosmopolitan.com via email the company is releasing a new cup with a transparent valve to help fix the issue. And while some companies are making changes, others insist paying attention to the toy's cleaning instructions is enough. Okay, either way, mold is gross, and it's something as parents we should all pay attention to.
The AP reported salmon sold at Walmart and Aldi might be subsidizing North Korea's weapons program. The fish come from a Chinese salmon farm that uses North Korean laborers who have 70% of their wages taken by the North Korean government. And not only that, but wholesale prices of salmon are on the rise because of a worldwide outbreak of salmon lice, which have recently become resistant to pesticides. And finally, over the summer, 100,000 salmon in a Seattle open water farm broke free voyaging into the Pacific. Officials are now worried because the salmon were never intended to breed with other fish, and they're now concerned this will lead to frankenfish, creating frankenfish, spreading lice, and financing nuclear weapons. I miss the days when all salmon did was swim upstream.
After an intense bidding war, hotelier and real estate developer Ian Schrager can say sayonara to the larger unit in his Manhattan penthouse because it's in contract for $51 million, making it the most expensive apartment ever sold downtown. Schrager's eye for design isn't lost on his own apartment. At nearly 8,000 square feet, the north-facing penthouse has the perfect open space layout for alternating between entertaining and family life. The luxurious penthouse has 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 3 wood-burning fireplaces, a chef's kitchen, a private elevator, private screening room, and wet bar. Outside, there's a 5,000 square foot terrace that's accented with a private pool, outdoor kitchen, and a beautifully manicured garden that shows off the majestic Manhattan skyline, Hudson River, and Statue of Liberty. Schrager split what was an $80 million penthouse into 2 units. The slightly smaller one is in the process of selling for $31.5 million. In today's hometown stories from Fox 11 LA, Bob Garcia was in the hospital for heart trouble when his wheelchair was stolen. Unable to get around without it, LAPD officer Duke Dow tried to help, posting signs hoping it would be returned. Kelly Kennison saw one of those signs and stepped in to help.
When I read it, the first thing I thought was to reply because I didn't even give it a second thought. I had one collecting dust in the garage.
The wheelchair belonged to Kelly's mom, who had recently passed, and Bob couldn't be more thankful for Kelly's generosity.
I feel like God is really watching out over me. You know, He's dead calm, will handle this. Put people in your path. She is an angel, not to bend them. I can see the wings behind her. She is an angel.
And for our next story, Empire, Ohio resident Jeremiah Klein was diagnosed with leukemia when he was just 4 years old. Because of this, the now 15-year-old needs periodic blood transfusions. Well, recently, his community showed support by organizing a blood drive. Armed with the support of his neighbors, Jeremiah is fighting cancer, determined to live like a teen. His mom, Heather Bias, told Top 30, "We threw him a surprise homecoming dance since he had to miss his at school. It was so great to see him smile for the first time since before he was diagnosed." Jeremiah's advice: just take each day as it comes and live it like you would any other normal day. Well, Jeremiah has one more round of chemo, and we wish him the best.
Facebook is taking new measures to combat the spread of fake news. The company is testing a new button that will appear on news articles. Tapping it will bring up information from the publisher's Wikipedia page. It will also display information on how the link has been shared and related articles. The company says the feature is designed to provide people some of the tools they need to make an informed decision about which stories to read, share, and trust. The tool also creates the possibility that Wikipedia articles could be altered with misinformation. A spokesperson for Facebook told TechCrunch that the related articles section will help users tell if a post is reputable, but that enforcement of Wikipedia vandalism will be left to Wikipedia. Because that's right, whenever any of us want to know if something is definitely, completely, unimpeachably, factually accurate, none of us turn to Wikipedia. Facebook has recently come under increasing scrutiny for fake news articles. It recently turned over 3,000 ads to Congress that were linked to Russia.
Pop star Kesha is letting fans into her private life like never before. In a cover story for Rolling Stone magazine, Kesha confesses a long and messy battle with eating disorders throughout her career, namely bulimia, in which she says the disease made her, quote, "so anxious that I feel like I'm going to explode from all the secrets." The interview was full disclosure. She said some of her peers would shame her for her eating habits. She admitted vomiting in the bushes during a dinner party and at times pretending to eat. The singer attributes her struggle to the pressures of being a pop star. A desire to meet the supposed Hollywood standard became an obsession. In 2014, Kesha checked into rehab for treatment, and now it's comeback time. For the first time in 5 years, she's got an album at the top of the charts called Rainbow. You know, Kesha has always been one of those artists you love or you love to hate, but I think we can all agree in saying we hope you stay healthy. New research from PricewaterhouseCoopers says Black Friday is over, and we killed it. According to the Washington Post, consumers expect deep discounts year-round, which has led to a steady decline in Black Friday shopping. PwC reports that 35% of consumers with plans to do holiday shopping during Thanksgiving week say they'll wait in Black Friday lines, compared to 51% last year and 59% in 2015. Stephen J. Barr, consumer markets leader for PwC, says retailers have conditioned the consumer to believe everything's on sale every day, which means the deals on Black Friday are not significantly different from any other time. Current projections from the National Retail Federation say Americans will spend $680 billion this holiday season, which is up from $655.8 billion last year. Well, look on the bright side. If Black Friday goes away, maybe we can actually spend Thanksgiving with our families.
When Amazon took over Whole Foods in August, they announced they'd slash prices, and they did. Favorites like avocados and almond milk were cheaper, not by much, but according to the research firm Gordon Haskett, they've slowly hiked the prices on certain items back up. Tracking prices on more than 110 items at a New Jersey location, the firm found that frozen foods were up 7% in the month following Amazon's takeover, snack items were up 5.3%, and dairy products were up 2%. Food industry analyst Phil Lampert said, "The bottom line is the lower prices got people into their stores. People who hadn't been there in years were suddenly thinking maybe I should give it a try." So while prices are still down a total of 1.2% on average, be aware that when you get a deal on an item, you are likely overpaying on another. But it's still too hard and too soon to say exactly what Amazon's overall plan for Whole Foods is. Technology is pushing us towards an automated future, and a new survey shows that scares most Americans. Pew Research found that 7 out of 10 people are worried about a world in which robots and computers can do many human jobs. Researchers also asked about specific tasks that robots may soon do. 54% of people are worried about the development of driverless vehicles, and 67% are worried about robots having the ability to evaluate and hire job candidates. Much of people's fears revolves around their pocketbook. About 3 out of 4 Americans think automation will lead to more economic inequality and the economy will struggle to create new jobs for people. But the good news is that in the future, worrying is another task we'll outsource to robots. You might as well relax.
Age ain't nothing but a number. Sounds good in theory, but it does matter if you're trying to learn a language or even remember somebody's name. Business Insider compiled a bunch of different studies that show what age you're good at things in your life and put them all in this chart. You've probably heard learning a language is easiest when you're 7 or 8, but did you know at age 18 your brain power peaks? And you're most likely to remember people's names when you're 22. But don't worry if those years have passed you by. 43 is your highest ability to focus. At 51, you can best understand people's emotions. And at 69 is when you're most likely to achieve life satisfaction. So, moral of the story here, no matter how old you are, there's always something to look forward to.
New regulations may put a dent in an industry that's been criticized for preying on vulnerable Americans. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has passed new restrictions on payday lending. They are the first ever federal rules for an industry that is worth over $38 billion. It's estimated that 12 million Americans, 12 million, take out short-term loans from websites or storefronts every year. Typically, they borrow against their next paycheck or a car title. A customer might borrow, say, $400. It has to be paid back in full in as little as 2 weeks. Then they might owe interest and fees of about $60, and that is an equivalent annualized of interest of 300%. Because the people who are borrowing are often strapped for cash in the first place, they can find themselves spiraling into massive debt. It is debt added to debt. The new rules will require lenders to give borrowers a test to see if they can repay loans with interest in 30 days while still meeting their other obligations. Right now, there are more stores offering payday loans in the United States than there are McDonald's. An amazing statistic, and one that thankfully could be about to change. Federal investigators say 12 people in Florida defrauded the government out of more than $20 million by illegally trading food stamps for cash. And it is a serious crime. The suspects could face between 5 and 20 years in prison if convicted. Prosecutors claim store owners and employees accepted payments for illegal cash transactions involving no purchases of food. The program, of course, provides food benefits to low-income people via debit cards, and the fraud operated by swiping food stamp recipients' debit cards at the stores to make it look like they bought food. Because if you're going to defraud any scheme, why not exploit the one that provides food to the poor?
Well, that's it for today's Top 30. Here are some stories coming up that you need to know. Becoming a mother changes more than just your body. New research says it also changes your brain. Living in a big city could make you healthier and happier. And we'll tell you what's for sale in an online marketplace for the super rich. These stories and more are coming up on the next Top 30.